Hello everyone and welcome to Telecreations. In this video I'm going to be hand holding my camera. No, I'll actually use a tripod still. I wanted to do a video kind of talking about me as a person, as a channel, kind of given an exploration as to what the hell the deal is. And I'm also going to awkwardly set up this camera onto my tripod while Indigo follows me. We've just had people over because my brother decides that having friends is an appropriate thing these days. Despite the fact that we're in a country where we're allowed to have friends over. It's just kind of annoying, you know. I don't get many opportunities these days to film anymore because I'm busy at work or uni or hanging out with my friends. Very rarely, that's usually once every couple of weeks. But usually my girlfriend once a week or twice a week, however the timetable works. That's better. Cool. Alright, so this is obviously the theatre room, for those who don't know. This is more or less my pride and joy of the household. I still live with my parents and my two brothers. Welcome to the economy. For reference, I'm currently 22 years old. I know, at some points in videos I do look older. My hair doesn't exactly help, and sometimes the beard makes me look at least 30. I've been getting that for the past, 5 to 6 years in terms of how I look versus how old I actually am. I remember in late high school, I'd have a full enough beard that people would be like, hey, "Should you be here?" My hair didn't start doing this until 2018, so that was well after I'd graduated. I'm currently in my 4th and final year of high school. It's technically my 5th because I started in 2017 at Swinburne. I'm doing a Bachelor of Media and Communications, prioritizing in film and television, obviously, because that's my jam, and I love it. I love doing video essays, I love talking about movies, I like writing essays as well. I don't think I'm the best essayist out there, or will ever be. I'm not well researched enough, to be honest. But I really enjoy doing it, nevertheless. So, yeah, I currently work at a warehouse in a wholesaler. Have been since 2017, since my first year of uni. I've been there for almost 4 years now. It's a nightmare. I used to work in a fridge freezer department, in a big open fridge freezer. It was always cold, obviously. It was regularly 3 to 5 degrees in the regular fridge, and then you go into the freezer, which was at least minus 15, at most minus 22. So, yeah. I also hurt my back at work once, which wasn't great. I still have injuries from it. It's fantastic. But at the same time, I've also been stabbed in the knee by an escalator. So, I have injuries, but they don't always affect me. Depends how it goes. I'm short-sighted for those who care. Not many people do. I prefer wearing glasses. I don't like contacts. I've tried them. They don't work for me. I do look decent without glasses. I wore glasses only from... I've been wearing glasses since primary school, since grade 2. I was really keen to, but that was just the thing because my parents wore glasses. Smart people wear glasses, says the cliche movies. So I was keen to wear glasses. Turns out I needed them. I didn't wear them full time until about year 8. That's of high school. We refer to them as grades in primary school and years in high school. I don't know why. It just sounds more fluent like that when everyone else speaks the same language. It just is a thing. Realistically, it's... I don't know what the difference is. It's like a British version of the American thing. It's the thing. Anyway, nevertheless, so yes, my aim for this year, for 2021, is to finish university. I'm doing my last class right now, which is great. I've got an internship at a radio station, which is really fun. Mostly just filming footy games currently, but we'll branch out eventually. I filmed other stuff last year, for filmed a concert and edited some audio for them. That was more or less for a institutionalized thing, I was doing a uni course where I actually had to do an internship, so I did it there, and I've just kind of continued it as well, through to this current day and age. So, yeah, that's a thing. Obviously, hello, I live in Australia, if you didn't know, more specifically Victoria. I don't really know what else there is really to talk about myself. Obviously, my passions involve movies. I love movies, I always have. I find it more fun these days since university that I can look at films in a more analytical aspect, a more objective avenue. Obviously, if you look at my Letterboxd, which of course I have, I do review a lot of movies. I had a year 2019 where I reviewed 510 different movies, or I at least had watched 510 movies. So I'm only on 80 currently, and it's April 2021, so yeah. I'm smoothing that out to watch more TV shows right now, because watching a lot of movies in one year is very hectic. To be fair, 2019 was a very good year, at least for me. So, yeah. If in regards to other interests I have, I love music behind the camera, where some people have seen my collectible stuff. I've got steelbooks, I've got the Evil Dead book, I've got a bunch of pop vinyls and other figurines, because I love horror and I love collecting, and so I've got a piano behind me, not mine, it's my dad's, and I've got, next to that is a shelf full of CDs and vinyl, which I've listened to probably almost all of it. It's all my dad's for the most part. He's the one who collects all the CDs and the majority of the DVDs. I'm more of a Blu-ray 4K person, but if I have to, I collect DVDs because sitcoms or, independent movies that don't get Blu-rays. Hooray for shitty content. Not saying that they're shitty content, the people who release them not to Blu-ray are the shitty content, so that actually doesn't make any sense for what I just said. Nevertheless, if you're interested in my top 10 favourite films, I have obviously a video on that. Look, there's a lot that I can say, so I really just want to talk about the channel. Because me as a person, look, I'm just a regular dude. I've gone to school, I have friends, I go to work. Life is hell. Luckily, I'm enjoying my life again after everything that happened last year. And I don't just mean the apocalypse. I mean, I had a lot of shit that was bad that happened last year. But this year has kind of been like a fresh start. I'm still at the same job, and I'm in a different position now. I'm still a store person, but I currently work in the liquor department at my job, or I do picking, so dispatch. So that's nice. I like doing that. I can work in 3 different departments, whatever the day calls for. I could do fridge freezer if someone's sick and they're desperate for help. It depends, but my management's kind of shitty, so they really don't know when the fridge freezer is in need of help, and they are always in need of help. So I'm kind of lucky that I got the hell out of there. Nevertheless, I've used a lot of that money to buy what is behind me and what's in my bedroom. My bedroom full of books and pop vinyls. I do like pop vinyls a lot. I do sell a lot as well as buy a lot, but currently I'm like getting out of that phase of buying pop vinyls and getting more into either buying kind of Funko sodas. It's just my thing that I'm doing now. I really like them. Or bigger figurines. Like I've got a Michael Myers figure. I've got the Mysterio, which actually my girlfriend got for me for my birthday a few years ago. I've got an Alien figure and a Freddy Krueger. So like, I might as well just spin this. I'll just actually unhook this. So obviously you've got the rest of the room where you've got the camera showing the TV. Obviously I've got my setup with my Denon receiver. I've got a Sony UHD player, which is all regions. The one below it is my old 4K player, which doesn't actually work. It's just a good mantelpiece thing. I've got a vinyl player for some bloody reason. Obviously subwoofer. I used to have Foxtel and another Blu-ray in here, but my other Blu-ray was a region-free player, which I put out in the lounge room so my parents can watch all region stuff. And my Foxtel is out there now because I don't have Foxtel anymore. Then we've got the vinyl DVD, the vinyl CD shelf, which is, again, majority my dad's, except for, of course, the Toy Story figurines, and that painting, which my girlfriend painted for me. So that was nice. That was another birthday gift last year. And of course on the shelf we have, it's either Mozart or Beethoven, we can never remember, I'm pretty sure it's Mozart, but that's Dad's. A lot of this, like the older stuff, like the cameras, the statues, Big Ben is Dad's, but then shit like, obviously the pop vinyl's mine. I got my Freddy Krueger, I've got my Alien display, because I like my lenticulars and my film arenas, and yes, I do keep that steelbook out of its box, because it's cool. I've got my Alien, I got a little Rick, because my girlfriend got it for me. Actually, my girlfriend's parents did. That's the... shit, what's it called now? A Trip to the Moon set. I've got a big display of pop vinyls there, mostly obviously Blade Runner, but of course I still like Always Sunny. If you're interested to see what kind of collectibles I do have a sister channel called Collector Creations where I show off this stuff. Just because I don't want to show off pop vinyls and stuff on this main channel. I feel like I'd be littering it and confusing the algorithm too much. So yes, my Evil Dead 2 Steelbook. And my little Halloween selection as well. I don't like this pop vinyl. I got it for cheap, so it's just there. But But I do like my Michael Myers. He is really freaking cool. And I do have Mysterio. And I even got, obviously, that poster from Shaun of the Dead and my Godzilla. And a classic Twin Peaks display. And I think behind it is an Evil Dead print, which is like one of like 1,000 or something, or 800 that my brother has. And he doesn't even like the film. So, yeah. And obviously you've got the whole shelf, which most of you probably have already seen before if you've been watching this channel for a while. There's my ottoman chair, which I say it's mine, but it's not. I didn't pay for it. Got some posters and stuff, obviously. That one, despite not being a film that I care much for, is actually signed by Benedict Cumberbatch, because I met him in person. It was great. And we've got another signed one of Patrick Stewart, Stan Lee with my dad's comic book that he had since a teenager, and Mitch Pileggi from The X-Files. And over the other side, we have met quite a few celebrities at conventions. Of course, you've got TOS, Star Trek, all with autographs that we have met. And we did, that's the roof, we did actually meet William Shatner. Look, it's me, back when I was a teenager. I used to wear vests, and I had a Star Trek phaser. I never even watched the original series. That's irony for you, kids. Still, fun stuff. I think I've seen some of the movies, so that's good enough for me. In terms of this channel, what is this channel about? So, I started this channel back in 2016 in my second last year of high school. I initially started it by posting Are We Alive, which was a podcast I was doing, a narrative audio drama inspired by Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And that's where it started. I was in high school. I just started my media class, and we went to do a short film, which became Don't Starve, which was a film that, in itself, I have a with the director video I did, which just explains like the behind the scenes of it. And that was like a 3-day shoot, followed by months of editing to get it out in time, but also because we had to have it actually come out early enough for because it's an assignment and whatever, and everyone I knew loved it. There was aspects of it that were a bit silly and whatever. Some of the writing wasn't perfect in the actual speech bubbles because I wrote it myself and I didn't know that certain words are spelled different ways. Hooray for high school education. Anyway, so the channel became Teller Creations because Teller is actually a character from Are We Alive? He is voiced by myself. He is like an omniscient kind of space dude who just is a documentarian. He just documents like stuff. Like he can like look through time and space like it's like a film reel, and can like travel to those destinations and like learn about it and observe, kind of like in those X-Men comics, the Marvel comics, the Watchers. And I only know that from the MCU, but still, it's that kind of a character. So probably not an original thing, but his name was Teller because he's the teller of tales. So I wanted the channel to be kind of focused on him, and it's like, oh, hey, it's like all these short films and stories will all be connected somehow. Like, I had done a shitty script for a sequel for Don't Starve where Teller meets fucking Wilson, and it was absolute bullshit. It was the bloody, like, it was the worst thing I think I'd ever written. And I'm like, this is terrible, I'm not doing this. I actually did write a sequel, and it was a whole lot better, but I could never get it made because the cast couldn't return. So that sucked. I couldn't find a replacement Wilson. But yeah, that's just what high school's like, where just everyone's so busy that they just can't get around to it. Nevertheless, I started Are We Alive? That I focused on that with my mates Anna, Ryan, and Toby initially for the pilot. The initial idea was like, oh, I'd script this whole entire show, which I scripted, every few weeks or whatever. I'd write a new episode. I wrote the whole entire thing myself. They were all like 10 to 15 minute episodes, kind of, in their scripts at least, but it was meant to be we were all going to be in the same room, and I'd be directing them as they were talking to each other, so it'd be more fluid and whatever, and I'd be narrating over it and whatever, but that never happened because first time we tried that, Toby was in theatre, so he just did his own thing, and we just recorded everyone else separately, and then we got his voice work, and I think he only did like the first episode, or like the first 3 episodes or something. Either way, I ended up recasting him because it was too much of an effort to get someone else in. But my mate Pablo was really interested in doing a role. He's like, that sounds really fun. So He was the replacement actor. I ended up re-recording the first 3 episodes like a year later to get him to do those voices again, and so I could kind of edit up the first one again so it could be better. But yeah, so since then, the channel has evolved from doing the radio play, then having Don't Starve come out. Then I started doing the Mindless Show, which was a talk show that I did with my mates, which, being the idiot I was, despite the fact that we filmed, like the week after this first season ended, we filmed all of season 2 in a week. And like it was like 2-3 days, I just had a whole bunch of people over, we were filming like non-stop. If I was more open-minded and allowing it to be silly and stuff, then that would have been much better, but unfortunately I was a bit too strict on how we were meant to be doing it. It wasn't until like the halfway throughout the season, I was like the second day of filming, I was like, I shouldn't be so harsh on everyone, or if we should just like be like, no, despite the fact that everyone's over there and they have to be quiet, they should join in, we should all have fun. So it evolved into a thing, but it took me like 3 months to release that shit, despite the fact of how easy it was to edit it, and I was only doing an episode a week. So I was trying to make the channel more focused on, oh, I'll have an episode of Are We Alive, an episode of The Mindless Show, and I'll try to build up hype. I'm like, I don't have enough subscribers for this. Why? I don't, looking back on it, I'm like, I should have just released it week by week by week, you know, instead of being a bloody idiot about it. And then I could have gotten more episodes and more people would have been interested in the show. But still, look, it had its 4 season run with 3 seasons and its final episode, and then a bonus Christmas special, and then we had the rest of it, which I did in my first year of uni, because I did film the 3rd season at the end of high school. So I'd filmed the whole entire show, pretty much, the first 3 seasons in like 2017, and that was like when everyone else was so focused on exams and stuff. I was just editing. I did not care for school at all. I was like so relaxed and like, I'm like, it's fine, I'll do my assignments, it's all good. I mean, I still passed with good colours, but it was like, I had no stress whatsoever. So like, I spent most of my time recording and editing. That wasn't even telecreations as well. I did 8-Bit Machine, which was a gaming channel I used to do with my mates. We'd pretty much just be playing games on Steam, Gary's Mod, Minecraft, whatever the fuck. And I just like record the footage and just edit it out. And it at least taught me the tricks and whatever about it. So despite the fact that the channel was terrible, and I've removed most of I haven't removed the videos from YouTube, I've like just hidden them away. Like you can still see a few of them that I really like, or at least that are popular enough. So I'm like, it still exists, and for some reason I still have 40 subscribers. Sometimes I lose a subscriber, then I gain one. I don't know what's going on with that channel. I don't touch it anymore. I focus on telecreations and collector creations. So anyway, telecreations evolved kind of out of that, because people, like, I had friends like, why are you starting a second channel when you already have an established fan base, like, well, not fan base, but like audience on 8-Bit Machine? I'm like, 8-Bit Machine was to do with gaming. Telecreations is not to do with gaming, it's to do with making media and films and like stuff like that, like bigger projects, stuff that I enjoy doing. So I did that instead, and then like just said goodbye to 8-Bit Machine. Sorry, but I'm not getting anything out of it. I don't like playing video games that much, so I'm moving on. And so telecreations, expanded pretty much after doing the 3rd season of the Mindless Show. When I got into university, I started doing video essays. And it's kind of a blur for like the next 2 years as to what the hell I did, because I did do the 4th season of the Mindless Show, which was the rest of it, which was like semi-scripted episodes. At least it had scripted elements to it, and it had a narrative drive around the whole thing, but some episodes were just kind of random or whatever. But again, it doesn't matter what viewership was like, I still did it because it was what I wanted to do. It was meant to be like a between seasons, because I shaved my head and shit and all this, had different glasses, like everything looked different, everything was different. We ended up filming half of the season here because we moved halfway through our production, so it's like, obviously it wasn't like a big production or anything, it was just me and my camcorder with some lapel microphones, which is the best purchase I've made for this channel. Lapel microphones, I bought like 4 of them for $50 each, but I had the money for it because I had a job, so I'm like, I'm doing this. I had uni friends, we could talk about movies and shit. It was great. I think the 3rd season was my least favourite of those, because that one, despite having a lot of episodes, there was a lot of episodes of people I don't really like that much, so like, I wasn't very good friends with them. I thought that it would be just fun to have fun topics of stuff to talk about, but it just became excuses for videos and just, Anyway, that's the thing. It's still there, you can watch whatever episode. A lot of them are still fun, and it's nice, at least for me, being nostalgic about high school friends, despite the fact that I don't talk to any of my high school friends anymore. So it's just, and that's not like a dramatic thing of like, oh, we had a big falling out. It's like, no, fuck, I just went to uni, and like, we all just kind of split off and did our own shit. Like, I recently ran into a high school friend at uni, and even he was saying how he hardly talks to any of them anymore because we're so busy. He's so busy with work and uni and stuff that we just don't have time to socialize. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But still, like, the channel kind of just evolved from there. I started learning how to write essays, better, or at least better than high school standard, and started doing video essays, especially, like Dan Golding, who did the soundtrack for that duck game, the Untitled Goose Game. That's the one. Duck. He actually taught me how to do video essays. And not specifically like directly me, but I was in a lecture with him because it was one of my film classes, and he was a guest lecturer, and he actually was talking about video essays because there was a whole segment at the end for whoever wanted to participate. How do you do a video essay? So because of him, I learned how to do video essays. I still watch his channel when he does a video, which isn't very often. Cool dude, by the way. But yeah, him and my tutor Kaz, who loved David Lynch and got me more into his work, and she was fantastic. She's the kind of film teacher you'd love to have because she is just fantastic. It was just go to class and just chat about films. Fuck the work, let's talk about films. So that was like the joy of like 2017 through to 2019. And in that period, I also went to Japan, of course, which you have seen videos of. If you haven't, they're on my channel. I met my girlfriend, Helene. We've been together for almost 2 years now. And that was, again, just a random thing. That wasn't because we were in class or anything. That was just simply, we met at a bloody New Year's Eve party because I happened to be, when I moved quite a distance from where I worked. So because of that, I still worked where I used to live, and I still do now. It's a 2-hour commute. I like trains, hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how the traffic is, because I still catch buses as well as trains. So it was one holiday season where my mum used to work next door for an agency of the company, and she would be driving me back and forth because, of course, she would also go to work, so it was just convenient if we both went at the same time, whatever. Even my bosses were okay with that and whatever, so it's like, it is what it is. So she goes away for the holidays because they don't operate throughout the holiday period, at least the agency that she worked for, but my work still worked because it's a warehouse. It's people have to come in to buy shit for their stores and whatever. You know, where do you get your fish and chips from? Well, they get it from where we sell it to them. Anyway, so I remember one day just messaging my friend from that I'd known, that was pretty much my older brother's friend, who he knew from primary school, but like our first primary school, because we went to a different primary schools. Whole history, messaged her, like, hey, how's it going? Because I was just bored on the train coming home. And she just happened to be having a New Year's party, and I mentioned the fact that I was going to be working on that day, and then I'll be in the area. And she was like, oh, you should come along. And so I was like, I'll figure out if I can come along, because I'd have to go to a mate's place, because my whole theory was after work I'd smell like death. It wasn't completely the truth, but it wasn't not the truth. Because working in a freezer makes you sweat a lot, and you don't realise it. And of course, if you don't have good deodorant, you smell a lot. So you take all those clothes off, and you're suddenly not a very attractive person to be around, at least sensory. So I stayed at a mate's place who lived around the corner from my work, and him and I went to this party, and that's where I met Helene. And it wasn't even like a hit off immediately. We had like a small chat for like 5 minutes throughout the night, and she ended up adding me on Facebook the next day, and we just kind of started talking after that, and haven't stopped talking since. And it's been fantastic. Obviously, like any relationship, ups and downs, bumps and whatever, but she's as creative-minded as I am, and she loves that I do these videos. She even did my channel thumbnails for like about a year. Yeah, pretty much everything post-Japan. She was doing like the Japan thumbnails, and then she pretty much did everything until about October of last year, where I got Photoshop and started doing it myself. So sometimes I get her to help me out at least with some thumbnails, but for the most part they're all of my own design, because she does design. She's doing her Masters of Design right now, so that's her jam, and it's wonderful. Like it helps me out, and I like that we can do this shit together. It's great. So yeah, so that's that whole thing. But in terms of telecreations, it was around the same time. It was after I'd obviously met her in 2019. Because I had started collecting Criterion and stuff. I watched Sardonicast one time, and they were talking about Hausu, and I was like, I have to get Hausu. So I went and got Hausu, and it took fucking forever to come in. But then when I did go to watch it with a friend, it didn't work. Hence, learned about region-free players, and I learned about this, and I learned about that. And then when I got my own TV and moved in, like, got my own room and whatever, because I have the smallest bedroom, so I get the theater room, all that jazz. I bought my own TV, I bought my own 4K player, my own Blu-ray player, the receiver, the speakers. It's all mine, except for the copper wiring. Subwoofers. I bought that with my own hard-earned money. That was the first big fucking thing I did in my life. Bought all this shit with my own money. And I was already buying movies, like, non-fucking stop. But I was like, I need a fucking 4K TV before we move into this new house. My first 4K film, Blade Runner 2049. And it was beautiful. And I got this sound system, and it just made it better, and I fucking love it. So I did that. I started learning about, steelbooks in particular. We did have a few DVD steelbooks, but nothing dramatic. And I started collecting the steelbooks just randomly. Like, I got Alien Covenant because I preferred the cover of that as a steelbook than I did of the regular Blu-ray or 4K cover. To be fair, at the time I hated steelbooks. I hated how much pressure you had to push into it to get the disc out. It didn't make any sense to me. Why do you need to protect the disc? And then I obviously found out, why do you need to protect the case? That's just made to protect the disc. Anyway, but steelbooks more or less are made to show off artwork rather than protecting the disc, realistically. So, yeah, it's obviously evolved in everything. Like, I grew up watching so much TV and movies with Friends and Doctor Who, and I watched Alien when I was a kid, and it traumatized me. And there's all this shit. I grew up with HR Puffin stuff on VHS. I still have my VHS player because you never know when you need it. And there's so much of this shit that I watched, and I love that I have. Like, I introduced... One great thing about my girlfriend is that she hasn't watched many movies. She grew up on Disney movies. So I get to show her all this new shit. She'd never seen Godzilla. She'd never seen so much shit. I showed her Amelie for the first time the other night. She's hardly seen a French film in her life. Except for one that we watched the other week, but it wasn't actually in French, despite the fact that it's made by a French company. It's My Life as a Zucchini. Good film. But she'd never seen Amelie. And I was talking to her after the film, how, like, if it wasn't for Dad, I wouldn't have watched all of these films. And obviously, my taste has obviously expanded a lot. Yeah, I watch cheap slasher films like fucking Halloween and Summer Party Massacre. I like weird avant-garde films and French films and David Lynch. So what? It's my jam. I love this shit. Even if I think a film may be boring, sometimes I fucking love it anyway. So, yeah, I obviously expanded more into steelbooks and Criterion, and then made my big video of... Because I started doing collection videos because I thought they were cheesy as fuck. But they raked in views, so I was like, maybe I can get an audience out of this. And then, bam, guess what I did after doing my steelbook collection and all that shit. Actually, I don't even know if I had done a steelbook collection. I did my Criterion Collection, part 1 of 2. And to think that my recent Criterion Collection, which hasn't done fantastically in views, actually got like 200 views, which is actually fucking nice. In comparison to the original part 1, which got like 1,000 views. I did part 1 and part 2 of the Criterion ones, because I had so many that I cut the video in half. Plus I had gotten some extras while I was filming the second half, and I had the Godzilla one, all that kind of jazz. And so I ended up, when I filmed the new one, I did that all in less time. I don't know how I managed that, but still. That still blows my mind that I could film. But I think it's just because I was like talking about the movies and being slow and progressive, and I didn't know how to like show it all off, so obviously my skills of doing that has developed a lot. Obviously the aim of the channel has changed a lot. It has changed into... I still do video essays, like, because I keep trying to figure out what the fuck do I want to do for this channel. And I think the past 6 to 8 months I've kind of known what I want to do. Like, I haven't had to keep thinking, oh, but I want to do these videos, and I want to do these videos. Like, I wanted to do Lachlan reviews where there were comedy skits, but then that didn't always happen, and hardly got views when I did do it, which is weird, because they're hilarious. Lachlan's such a great guy. But then I started realizing that, like, if I talk about movies more, video essays don't always get views, but they can over time. Like, I have done some for uni that have raked up huge in views over time, and huge in criticism, but not against the video essay itself, just about just some weird shit. Anyway, people are weird. That's great. But like shit like that's ranked up views, and it's fun to see 6 to 8 months later a video you did off the whim or something that you're really proud of that tanked in views, like got like 3 or 4 views in like 3 weeks, but now has gotten like 700 views in like a year, and you're like, holy fuck, that's beautiful, all these likes, and despite the dislikes, there's like maybe some commentary with like the fucking comment section. Like, it's so weird to watch that shit bloom. So I release so many videos now, and I get exhausted of it a lot of the time because they're not doing well in views, but it's because I now know that it's like, it doesn't matter. In a few months' time, these things will be big. Like, it doesn't matter that, you know, shit now is, it doesn't matter, like, that no one cares about it now. I like that I can do this shit and just have people watch it eventually, but at the same time, that's why I also don't mind filming a video and then releasing it in like 4 weeks' time. It's just what I do. I just do 2 videos a week. It's tricky for me to do that now because of finding the time to film it and finding ideas, because I get so tired. Nowadays, I'm spending so much time watching TV, it's like, oh my god. But I like this. I like talking about Criterions. I like talking about like boutique brands and steelbook labels and all that kind of stuff. But there's only a limit to how much you could do. I follow other channels who do this kind of stuff. Some of them will be like, do more in-depth reviews on like 4Ks or like, this new 4K this week is really cool and this and that, whatever. But like, you know, if they're like a channel that focuses on doing boutique stuff, then they got to keep spending money on it. And there's other things to spend money on, and if you're not getting any profit out of it, I don't get any profit from this channel because it doesn't have 1,000 subscribers. So no matter how much content I make, I'm not earning a cent from it. I'm dedicating my own time into this, which is more or less why it's more or less of a hobby, but also a kind of a visual portfolio. Hey, look, here's the hundreds of videos that I've made, which range in quality, but definitely are there in quantity. But yeah, so I think this channel has definitely obviously expanded a lot. We're almost at 350 subscribers, which is fucking incredible. Obviously it's not some fucking gigantic milestone, and I'm not selling myself out like my brother is, who like does giveaways and like gives people games for free just so he can get subscribers. The dumbest fucking shit. And his channel, in my opinion, I always say this despite the fact that I'm on video, that I don't like his channel at all. Even though I've edited for it, it's like, his channel's fine. It's just generic, play horror games, get scared of it. And now he does Twitch more than he does YouTube, which I think is better for him. It just works out better for him anyway. But still, that's his jam. He hasn't changed up his style or anything for like 7 years. So, yeah. Obviously, yes, he started before me. And he didn't influence me to do it, because the gaming channel, yes, I think he influenced me to do that to some degree. But I just kind of wanted to do it because I didn't like playing video games that often. But then playing video games meant I wanted to do something else. So recording for it, hey, shit, I'm adding myself to it. It's now about me in some really completely egotistical way. Nevertheless, it was high school. Of course it was ego-driven. Why the fuck wouldn't it have been? So, yeah. Look, the end-all be-all is that this channel has come a long way, and it's not really something I've been able to talk about. I wanted to do a 5-year anniversary thing for the channel, but it's like, the channel hadn't reached a stage that I was completely comfortable talking about it in such a longevity view. And I've done a lot of shit. Like, yeah, I talk about Are We Alive in the Mindless Show, and you don't give a fuck. You're here to look at Steelbook reviews or Criterions, and I can't do that every fucking week. So I want to come up with ideas to do video essays, but then the video essays, sometimes you got to do research in, or you just do them off the fly, which I usually prefer to do them off the fly anyway, based on an idea that I get, whatever. And now I can't think of any. And all the ones I do think of, I actually need to do research on, and it's annoying. Like, it doesn't have to be, like, exceptional research, but it's just a bit, but yeah. It's getting trickier for me to make videos. Like, I wanted to do short films still. That was still a thing I really liked doing, but it's so hard to do that now. Everyone's so busy with work and shit, and I can't find it. Like, I've written a bunch of scripts, but I just can't, and they're all for short films, and I can't find anyone to do any of it. I don't have that kind of connection with people to be like, hey, would you want to be in a film? You know, it doesn't really matter about the monetary side of it, but the thing is, I could be putting in $3,000 into a short film. I'm not going to get anything out of it, like money-wise, because, you know, it's not going to go anywhere. I go on YouTube and then that's it. That's why, like, I personally haven't, like, upgraded my camera or anything in these since I got it, 4 years ago. I got it for my 18th birthday from my parents, so I haven't, and that's 4 years, so I haven't changed, almost 5 years. I haven't changed a lot of this stuff. I've added stuff to it, like the microphones and whatever, but I've always wanted to get a better camera that you could do better focus on, like ones where you could, like, actually reel it. I love those cameras, they're so cool. Camcorders are shithouse in comparison, obviously. So I do have aspirations. I don't know if this channel will involve myself in the future. I don't expect to be someone like Markiplier or PewDiePie. Evidently not, I'm not getting paid for this shit, so I will never be like them, but I don't really plan to be. To spend my life on YouTube isn't a bad thing, you know, but it's like, I don't always have to be in front of the camera. I'd like to be behind the camera, the writer, the director. I'm not a fucking actor. Trust me, I've tried. I'm not an actor. I don't know, I think I put too much pressure on myself to try and make videos every week. Not everyone watches my videos every week. That's what I'm trying to do with collector creations, where I'm just kind of, I'll film videos maybe for an hour straight. I'll just talk about pop vinyls or figurines, and I'll just get around to add them later on. That channel's growing. It's on almost 70 subscribers now, and I'm like just chill about it. It's like I'm not getting myself in front of the camera and being like, here's all these pop vinyls that I'm going to show you all the way over here, but I'm going to be right the fuck... I don't understand how people can do that. I hate that. It's one of my pet peeves about YouTubers who are doing product reviews, and they don't fucking emphasize the product, they emphasize themselves. I hate it. It's so annoying. Now, that could be ironic because, of course, when I'm doing, like, steelbook reviews and shit, and I'm, like, trying to show off the art, but at least I'm showing the camera the artwork so you can get an idea of what it looks like in reality. And the rest of the video is me, just you're looking at me rather than the product. But if it's something like a figurine where you want to look at the intricacies of the details, so you can understand if, like, I like that, I want to get that because of this, because of how it looks and how it's designed, then yes, that's what I want to watch. So that's what Collector Creations is. That's just a channel of, I have too many pop vinyls, I want to talk about it. I've got to get it off my chest. And so I do that and talk about other figurines and pop vinyls and whatever. And if you've stuck around for the end of this video, thank you. If you have been subscribed from the get-go, then you're probably a friend who knows me from high school, which is awkward. Nevertheless, if you're a subscriber, thank you. Thank you so much for just having me on your subscription list, whether you watch my videos or not. It's just nice to know that people, for some reason, give a shit, which has always been a thing for me. I've always wanted for people to give a shit, not like about me, but like about things that I make. So yeah, and I know not all these videos are worthwhile or good or whatever. Trust me, they could be better. They could always be fucking better. I know that, but still, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed at least this kind of introduction to myself, to this channel. I know it's long-winded and whatever. I can talk for a long time, which is probably pretty obvious. This is one whole goddamn take to spend. There's probably edits in the video to make it a bit shorter, but you know. So yes, thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking around and enjoying. If you do have suggestions, then yes, please put them in the comments. Nobody does, but I'm open to it. I'm always fucking open to it. Fucking suggest a film. I could start doing film reviews again. I want to do shit like interviews, like that interview show. Like, that was fun, but it's hard to do that because of COVID, so... I mean, I'm allowed to, because we're allowed to go outside now in Australia. It's nice. You should come here. You shouldn't come here, but it's nice. It's nice here. Anyway, thank you for watching. Look, I make videos on whatever the fuck. It is what it is, and I'll see you in the future, which is tomorrow.